Despite a mountain of evidence that there was no fraud committed in Canada for the rebate program that Tesla was able to exercise the heck out of, the comments do not stop. People are just convinced it's not possible to sell a car quickly. It's not possible to sell a bunch of cars, and there's surely something very strange and very crazy going wrong. But of course, none of that makes sense. The obvious answer is that you can do all of those things. So I decided to bring on an expert, my friend Teresa, who is the president of the Tesla Owners Club of Washington, a former Tesla sales center employee, a lady who has herself purchased 5 Tesla vehicles, has helped as a volunteer for deliveries across a number of different Tesla delivery waves, most notably probably the big push of 2019, I'm guessing, and who has understood the process inside and out, front and back, because she's not only lived it, but she's helped other people do it as well. That's what we're going to get into. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza.
Oh, thank you, Brian. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. I lean on the experts. I can tell people that when I bought the car, it was painless. Once I made the decision to buy the car myself, I went onto the app. I placed the order. I did that on camera. Tesla SoMe girl was with me when it happened. It was very exciting. And on the delivery day, I show up. Guy says, show me your ID. He makes a copy, hands me my paperwork. And when I'm done with my paperwork, he says, here's your keys. Would you like an orientation? And if you say yes, you get a 10, 15-minute orientation. If you say no, all right, well, your car's out there. It's right there. And it's already on your phone. They will double check to make sure the check that you bring with you is the correct amount, of course.
Exactly.
From my perception, I only used about 10 or 15 minutes of the guy's time. And if you contrast that with the traditional car buying experience, I have bought
hours.
Yep. It takes half a day. In the past, I've bought cars where I would correspond with them in writing prior to making the deal, where I would fax them saying, you have a car in inventory. This is the price I'm willing to pay. Yes or no. And in one case, they said, yes, we got it all done. And it still took hours because they want you to buy their rust proofing, their warranty. They've still got more nickels to squeeze out of you.
They do.
So I guess the first question is, what is the process like from the buyer's perspective of how much time it actually takes at the delivery event?
At the delivery event, it's like the only time that it's taken me more than 10, 15 minutes was my very first Tesla in 2016. Because back then it was just the S that was being delivered. So they had the time to actually go through orientations with you. It's a brand new vehicle. It's brand new technology. It's like there's all these things on the screen, all this kind of stuff. We were with us the salesman was with us for about an hour. And it's like, yes, but then off we went and away we went. But it's like, yes, it took 5 minutes to sign the paperwork. If we wanted the demonstration of the car, he was willing to do it. He gave us whatever time we needed. Not that we needed that time because we already test drove a car prior to that. But and then off we went.
Yeah, let's say it's a big delivery event. Let's say it's one of those end of month, end of year, end of rebate period, end of quarter, one of those big waves that we sometimes see. Let's say there's one sales representative I'm talking about, one delivery agent I'm talking about. How many people is that person working with concurrently? 3?
Concurrently, it's probably 3 to 5, depending on which stage of the process the person came in with. Because if the paperwork was already done for payment online, literally maybe less than 5 minutes. But if they came in with a paper check, maybe 15 minutes. So paperwork is printed out in the back. They're brought out to the sales associate. Then the customer is called up to the counter, gone through the paperwork, taken out to their car if they need to, because if they want to see where their car is at, do a quick walk around. And then the salesman goes back inside and works to the next one. But there's people in the background always working on the paperwork to get them out to the salesperson to get to the delivery person. So there's always probably 3 people working on a vehicle at any time.
Because the biggest time block for me was when they handed me the paperwork and I went through it and signed it. But that doesn't require my person to help me. That requires them to say, here you go. There's a space over there. Take your time, do whatever you want. Come back when you're ready. And in the meantime, I can see he's helping other people.
Mm-hmm.
My delivery was on Saturday, October 21st of 2023. And it was not the end of the quarter. It was not the end of the year. It was not the end of a rebate period. It was a Saturday. And I must have watched them turn 15 cars while I was there. And nobody's sweating. Nobody's stressed. It's just kind of a normal Saturday. Weekdays are quieter because, people have work, but weekends really hustle. So because it's all so lightweight in terms of the load, 3 to 5 customers at some part in the process is not crazy.
Sure. Nope,
Okay.
it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Because I volunteered during end of quarters. I volunteered during end of year. And it's like, because when I was working at Tesla, I was there for the end of year sales for 2018, when the tax rebate was being cut in half come January 1st. And we went through 1,000 cars delivered that week prior to the end of year. 1,000 cars. So cars would come in, cars would go out. And it was that quick, that fast.
In one location.
In one location in 1 week.
So now let's talk about the part that I can't see, which is all the printing of the paper. I assume they've got some kind of queue there on the computer that says, here's your schedule and here's what to print.
Yep.
And does the rep look at it and go, oh, okay, this person, this car, and then they just grab the car and pull it? What's the process?
Going to say, because when it's time for delivery, it's like we usually check the day before as to what deliveries will be going out the next day. So we kind of queue them up by the time of day. Then paperwork will come in from Nevada through email. Then they'll get printed out that morning, put in a folder, put in a queue line in the back room so that the next sales associate will come in, grab the next car, call that person up, sign their paperwork, and send them off to their car. So that happens that morning for that day's delivery. And it can be 5 to 6 cars an hour that come through every hour, especially weekends.
On a normal weekend, not even a crazy weekend.
Exactly, not even a crazy weekend.
So now let's talk about, well, where would you even find thousands of customers? I mean, they're not doing thousands of sales every 3-day period. What makes this 3-day period so special?
Most of the time, they're trying to get in enough deliveries for the end of quarter. So that's usually when there's the biggest rush of deliveries, is the end of week of quarter, to try to make those quarter goals. Right.
So Tesla knew they knew in 3 days this program is over.
Right.
So how would they know who to reach out to, and what would they say to them?
Because there's always a list of leads, because there's always somebody comes in that goes in through their website, through the app, that they're interested. Hey, I might like this car. They always collect name, email address, and phone number. And
they do test drives.
And they do test drives. And they keep all of that information. And so they can always just go through, populate that list through Salesforce and send it out to everybody. And it's like, hey, this is what's happening in 3 days. This is the time to jump if you're ready to jump. Cars are ready. Most of them, it's like, yes, there's several different kinds of configurations. Pick which one fits your needs and come in and it's ready for you.
So that's what I see a lot. I've done test drives of a bunch of different ones. I've done so many of these Tesla events between spinning the wheel and doing the test drives and all that I'm surprised my email doesn't auto-populate when I start typing it.
Right.
But what happens is I will get a text message sometimes saying, this is going on if you, just so you know. So that's what happens. They've got this endless book of leads, and they send out a message that says in 3 days time, the rebate is gone. And this happened back in January, and there could be price increases just generally due to trade issues.
Exactly.
If you were on the fence or near the fence, you jumped.
I would jump. Yep.
I would, and clearly so did. So we know where the leads are. We know how the sales process works because this is not a 3-hour sale. They don't ask you about rust proofing. They don't ask you about
Nope.
financing. A story I had shared
Extended
with you.
warranties. Nothing.
Oh, for
Yeah.
crying.
Yep.
A story
I
I had
know.
shared with you was that when I applied for my loan, my financing, because the financing process takes an hour at those dealerships because they want to squeeze every penny. But
Hmm.
I just took care of it myself on my phone at home
Hmm.
days in
Me.
advance. And when I applied for it, it said, we think your rate's going to be, and I don't remember, 5.5, whatever it was, a better
Sure.
deal than I was finding online. And I said, well, I accepted it. So you know what's going to happen is if they can beat 5.5, Tesla gets to keep the premium. There's a spread, there's a rebate on the
Right.
back end. And then 2 days later, next day, whatever it was, I got a notice saying your loan has been approved. Your rate's actually lower than we quoted you. And I was
Yes.
like, you ethical bastards. I don't believe it.
Exactly.
If it, I mean,
Yes.
I'm a good guy, but I would have kept that
Sure.
premium.
I would have
That's
too.
just
Yeah.
business. As a shareholder, I'm like, you probably should have kept the premium, but they didn't. So the
Right.
financing part's taken care of. There's none of this aftermarket nonsense that they're trying to push onto you. Um, they're not trying to sell
Nope.
you the extended service plan to come in and get your oil changed because that's not a thing. So
Exactly.
yeah, it the cars can move quickly. Um, I'm going to show this real quick.
Hmm.
This headline is pretty sensational. Tesla claims it sold 8,653 cars in 3 days, but the Canadian government doesn't buy it. It sounds like a terrible headline. This article is actually well written. Whenever the price of something is expected to rise dramatically on a certain day, um, a bull rush is practically inevitable. Look how
Sure.
enthusiastic Quebecois motorists helped Canada run out of federal EV rebate early. Now, this 8,653, I've seen some reports saying, well, that was at just 4 stores. It wasn't. That was nationwide. Um, Worth noting that a lot of Canadian dealerships of the legacy style are closed one day on the weekends. That cuts into what you
Sure.
can do. And well, how dare they take these rebates that were really meant for all users, for all brands? And the answer is they didn't. They didn't. What happened was the the other guys were sitting on inventory forever. They're just sitting on it, not moving it, not pushing it. And it wasn't until the other guys, Tesla in this case, started really pushing it that they went, oh no, we're going to miss out on. Oh, we did miss out.
Right.
Guys, you had the inventory. You could have sold it at any time.
And you have the opportunity, just like Tesla had the opportunity.
The
Some just
Autopian
don't want to
article,
push it as hard.
right? You can't get the extended service plans on them to move the way you can on a vehicle that's made of thousands of intricate moving parts and
Yes.
fire. Many
Exactly.
explosions are how you get down the road. The Autopian article does go on to say, guys, the people saying, well, oh, Tesla just bought them from themselves. They just did a shell purchase. No, that's every purchase has one buyer, one car per
Yes.
year. If you are a company, you can do up to 10 cars. And if you, Teresa, own 10 companies in Canada, you're still limited to 10 because you're still the owner. So you'd need to find hundreds and hundreds of shell owners to buy a new car and make it a used car. It's not worth as much anymore
Right.
because once the title's transferred, it doesn't matter if it gets 0 additional miles. It's now a used car. It doesn't make sense. And the
Correct.
article does go on to say that they they don't just cut you a check. It is verified. They do verify to determine that this is a
Yes.
legit purchase.
Yep.
The claims of fraud to me sound like sour grapes.
Correct.
And well, then why is the government investigating? It's their job, I'm
Sure.
guessing. Uh, you
That's
have
what I
to.
would guess too. Exactly. You just have to verify the sales. And I get that because it's like, because we've had people come in to try to take delivery of cars that financing ended up falling through that morning because their bank was closed on a Sunday. They didn't get their financing set up in time fast enough through the app, that kind of thing. But it verifies every single buyer first.
It is insane to think that the that the government would just be cutting those checks willy-nilly. I know there are a lot of people who despise governments, believe that they are that it is impossible for them to do anything right. But when it comes to giving out cash, they're awfully good at generally double checking to make sure, keeping an eye on it. Otherwise, it would all just disappear. A loophole that big would be insane. And why on earth would a company that at the time was valued at over $1 trillion want to commit $40 million in fraud in a way that has a bulletproof paper trail? Guys, think it through. Well, but Teresa, it feels like fraud. Okay, well maybe
it may feel like it, but it's not. Yeah,
right. A lot of tax loopholes to me feel like fraud.
Sure.
Ones I have used. The idea that I could deduct interest that I pay on my house when others don't get to deduct their rent, boy, that feels like fraud.
Right?
Does it? It depends on your perspective, I suppose.
Sure.
I like to keep things fact-based. But you know what Teresa likes to do is host events through the Tesla Owners Club of Washington. All kinds of stuff coming up periodically. Donuts and drives on the 15th. I won't be able to make it. I was going to message you. That is closing day of the play, or the day before closing day. It's the day before. I don't know. It's this weekend is the closing of the play. Yep. And so after that, I'd be more flexible. But I will be not at Chuckanut Scenic Drive. I'll be in Chattanooga that weekend. Teresa, I don't know. The stars are not aligning. But guys, wherever you are, there are Tesla Owners Clubs. If you want to hang out with some pretty fun folks who share some of your ambitions for the future of electrification, these are great places to do it. I've enjoyed being a member of these clubs. And I keep multiple club memberships active because I'm active in multiple clubs.
I do as well. Yep. Yeah, it's like I think I'm a member of 4 or 5 different Tesla clubs myself. Yep. I'm
only in 3 with Washington, Oregon, and Michigan. So, but those are the 3 clubs where I'm active. And it's fun because I'll meet people in like California and they go, "I thought you lived in Michigan." I was like, really?
Exactly.
Yeah, I always see you there. I'm like, all right. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
Yep. So guys, I'm a member of Washington. Yes, I'm a member of Washington, Oregon, British Columbia, I'm trying to remember what Zeb's club's name is, but it's the Research Triangle in North Carolina and San Diego. Yep.
So much fun. So guys, in the comments, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Where is the fraud hiding? It's got to be there somewhere, you guys. It's is it in the room with us right now? And everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do. Stay tuned. Stay juicy. I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, when all of the dust finally settles.
Exactly.